afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda, Hero of Strike, Defender of the Fatherland. We're off here to a 1 vs 1 on Holo de Ferma. This match from the Balance Preview mod here. That is the stuff that's eventually going to be the actual patch, hopefully with some more changes down the road. We got here in the West, Findeed, fighting for America and freedom. For the 5th Infantry Division, holding the line as the Germans under the GGthemachine attack, fighting here for... well, Germany, the Wehrmacht, and the 15th Panzer Grenadier Division. We got here Mechanized Assault Spearhead and Lightning War versus Rifle, Airborne, and Heavy Cavalry Company of the Bulletins for Infantry, and a single Grenade Bulletin there for Findeed to go straight for Airborne in a big surprise. Fun one, and I think welcome one there. Got one Rifle Squad, 2 reactions here for Findeed, allowing them to seize more territory in the early game, and also prepare positions if need be against the foul Germans here, the Krauts under Machine, who is also one of the chaps assisting Relic with the balance patch. Then these moving out in Pioneers and MD42 there as well. Moving down here for the carve point. MD42 sitting around there. Pioneers sitting southwards. Pretty standard stuff so far. Nothing that truly stands out there. Barbed wire around the truck there. In this case, still, you'd usually also lay about some here as well to deny opponent using cover there, but that's probably less of an issue here for Findeed. Barbed wire here as well. Pretty steady approach. More rifle. And interesting enough, he's not going for the fuel point, but obviously, I mean, in West Holo de Ferma, you kind of want this compartment. The other opponent can put a lot of pressure on you, but usually you still also want some fuel. Grenadiers moving about here, so his base is splitting up his Grenadiers from the rest of his force. Not necessarily a bad idea, though. In case, I mean, Findeed were to pull a big push there for the car point, he could put GGthemachine in a bit of a bind. Sandbags up there around the munitions. Good spot. Grenadiers almost done. Engaging between the Grenadiers and the Rifle. Grenadiers need to fall back into the car pretty schnell there. Or taking some damage out from the Rifleman. Few shots fired there. Variations laying down barbed wire. Here we can see a roof Indeed very swiftly. Overall trying to manipulate the battlefield more in his favour using barbed wire here and there. In every conceivable way then. Trying to do so in fact under Machine's nose. Cheekily enough. Grenadiers moving up here occupying the house. They'll probably be able to catch the Echelons, but in this case will not be able to actually stop this. Or do anything about it. They'll be needing Pioneers for them. Well, hazard kits there. And they don't quite have that yet. And he probably doesn't want to spend his early munitions on that. We can see that Findeed follows up with a mortar, which has been nerfed. Basically, it's been given the same stats as the Wehrmacht mortar, but it has less range. Basically. And now it's veteran to 1. I think it's just, I think either faster smoke or longer smoke sort of range. Then Machine also going for a mortar here. And not enough, and there you go. Yeah, the range of the smoke basically. So it's more now just about using smoke support. Of course, you can still use it for regular support as well, but it's going to require you putting it closer to the enemy, and that's more in harm's way. But they're sort of still trying to push it. This is more of a smoke delivery machine for the Americans, though. So far, again, that still requires that overall more players begin using smoke automatically, of which there's still, you know, those players are a bit of a minority. A cool minority, really cool, the coolest of the cool, but still a minority. Grenadiers standing about there. Shots fired here, I think, from the German mortar against the Rifle up north. Grenadiers being surrounded and pushed back. Here, southern half of the map secured here by Machine. MD42 standing about there. I think we'll try and push a bit more aggressively northward, supporting the Pioneers there, or some other infantry. You got take up here for Machine. Mortar fire from the American mortar there on the Grenadiers there inside the house. Mortar fire on the re-echelons inside the church. This force to sneak about a bit. Back here, still attacking. Mortar fire back and forth. Pioneers moving up north. The MD42 the remains. He's defending the south, which is fair enough. But in the early game, I always feel like it's better to have the MD42 elsewhere to sort of force more decisive engagements for you. I mean, if you had a second MD42, this would be all right. But that is his only MD42, and I don't think in the early game it's worthwhile to really spend that to defend a single victory upon him. And that's really what he's defending, even on that here again. I mean, I don't know, it's just not really what I'd recommend here. Mortaring about here, and again the MD42 I think will just give him a bigger advantage in these engagements with all the rifle and the reactions. Pangram has managed to push back the mortar there, the M1. German mortar there, Gunnar with 2 kills, half each, veterans 1 so far. Grenadiers reinforcing, medic bunker there. It's appearing now, I mean the bunker is there, but he hasn't yet quite gotten the munitions for it. Indeed, possibly taking up here, and indeed he's going for the captain. Indeed is indeed going for the captain in that regard, while doctrinally he's, you know, trying to push new ways. Tech wise, he's still sticking to what he knows. He's relying on his comfort zone yet, which I suppose isn't a half bad idea. So Captain on the way, possibly follow up with the new Stuart, which of course has been nerfed, is less over-performing, if you will. And also be interesting to see how it then actually performs here against the machine of the Wehrmacht, who is yet to choose a doctrine himself. I mean, he could go for Mechanized Assault, which of course offers now several now changed units, the Assault Grenadiers and the Stugi. Could also go for something like Spearhead or Lightning Bolt, which also offering benefits of different kinds. But like the Mechanized Company up here, Grenadiers reinforcing, healing, and again, the lack of an MD42 then even further, is sort of apparent here as Findeed just pushes forwards, and the MD42 sort of having itself a nice schnapps by the southern victory point there. Going for the CoH point here, like to make a nice company up, Grenadiers healing, reinforcing, mortar a bit further back here, almost got it up. They also got flamethrowers on the Pioneers, who have also been buffed, but so far haven't really been able to shine much because they were mostly busy taking territory there, and then sort of when the fighting actually came, there's a bit more range fighting. But there you go, finally shifts the MD42 trying to defend the fuel point here, 2-2 on the way there, which of course also received changes, which I think forgot to mention in my video, obviously. But in a sense, does less damage, somewhat because a lot of its guns have been nerfed, but on the other hand, they perform a lot more, steadily, in particular the machine gun on the 2-2, which was otherwise pretty inconsistent before that. It has also been more expensive, so in fact it now costs more than the 251 half-track. And of course the 251 half-track has some benefits now, but I still think that one needs a buff. Preferably, for starters, a bit more armor, because at this point, there's not really much reason for it not to be bulletproof. And second, I still think it needs a bit more. I mean, they said, oh, well, we'll out to move about mortars. The problem is, that's kind of like, painting it red without actually buffing the speed, and says, well, that'll make it go faster. I mean, it's not going to be made more valuable because you can transport mortars around in it. That's not exactly what people use their mortars for. MG40 holding up the rear echelons there. In the centre, Cap moving up there with Thompson and Rifle flying out. They're going to just need to retreat. Pioneers dealing with the Rifleman. Closing in eventually 2 already. There you go. Viciously pushing them back. We got the 2-2 up here. The Lighting Punches Bewagen, which is a fun fact, was actually based on a civilian car design. That's actually the first German scout cars were in fact based on that. And in fact, the very first scout cars the Wehrmacht used actually resembled very much the M3A1. Just without any 50 caliber machine guns. This one was replaced, by the way, by numerous other scout cars, in part because it wasn't really that good off-road, thanks to just being full-wheel. But basically required either half-tracked, fully tracked, or, well, more wheels, like 8, which is rather the preferred armoured car number there, number of wheels on an armoured car. Mortar being spotted here by the 2-2, though he hasn't quite allowed to fire yet. There you go. Also, thing to note is now prioritised vehicles pretty much means if the anti-infantry weapons are on it, for example, machine gun or tank, can shoot an infantry, they will do so. There's a slight change. In theory, if you got prioritised vehicles there and there's infantry right in front of the 2-2, the Crack's machine gun would still shoot, but the turret won't move. There are some details there. It does mean, for example, if you do pop prioritised vehicles and say a Stug and there's infantry in front of the Stug, the machine gun will automatically shoot at the infantry. So that does, make it a bit more sensible there. So that is kind of neat. Pioneer standing back, they need to get moving. We could consider some Panzer Grenadiers here. Mr. Machine or Herr Machine. We got the aviation that have engaged with the 2-2. We got a Stuart out here for Findeed, the M5A1, the Blue Pack 40 here. Also note now the stun round, by the way, and I forgot, that's a pretty huge one, by the way. It doesn't actually prevent movement anymore, it just prevents them from shooting. So, I mean, that's a significant change there to the Stuart. It means it can't just lock up vehicles and prevent them from getting away. But it can certainly prevent them from being functional in a fight, which is, still significant. But, it does mean it can't just easily dominate as badly as it could. Mortars flying away here. We got a 50 caliber out here for Findeed. Likely having used the pair drop there to sort of just pop it down there. Good move there. Very sharp use there for doctrine. And also I think one of the reasons why I do like airborne, it allows you, for example, to go for lieutenant. You can drop anti-tank guns in, again go for the captain. You can still get 50 calibers there, so you can still get some of the more useful support assets. So moving up here for the centre, Pack 40 opening up there, good hit there, 2-2 opening up as well, Cap moving ahead. MD42 back in the south again, very quick to separate from the rest of his forces. 2-2 going up to the Stuart here, problem is he's getting stunned a lot there, again, it can move freely, but it can't shoot. It's right here, machine there, hoping to get the Stuart, got a bit too greedy and got punished here by Findeed. Soldiers in the south, the MD42 dealing with rifle and ping them down. We got paratroopers being called in here by Findeed, a rare sight. VS Captain here causing havoc, and we got troops here on the way, healing, reinforcing. Plus Panzer gun is there for machine. He could also go for more machine guns there. 12 points secured. Paratroopers dropping. Where are they dropping? Right around here, a bit risky, but Looks like none of them get harmed. All equipped with M1 carbines. Grenadiers, Panzers moving up, hit the Panzer Corps now, adventure to 1, gain a bit more additional survivability bonus, meaning overall they become a bit faster, tougher, and harder to kill. Paratroops out here and there are getting the Thompson submachine gun on the map like CoH2. That's a pretty good choice. I mean, it's a lot closer quarters, a lot sharper corners, which means over the Thompson submachine gun and its tactical assault ability is quite handy. Pioneers, but also dealing with them up close. Bet you two for the Pioneers as they burn away the Yankees. Captain pushed away there. Yeah, Otto. Oh, Otto is dead. Yeah, Ludwig. My name is also Otto. Ah, such confusing. You're Ludwig now. Pioneers going to bring up and get the student nearby. Again, not quite so dominant as it used to be, though of course it's not exactly in the other direction, which is useless, which is, you know, good. That's rather how balance is supposed to go. Important they're being secured. Machines on the defensive. MD4 moving up, got a bit of fighting up north to it, best of the Grenadiers moving up there to Panzerfaust. They can do so more safely now. Damaged engine. Rifle flying in into the line of fire of the Pioneers. 32 flamethrowers, Grenadiers supporting with light machine guns. Rather than taking losses, and takes out the mortar there. And we got the reactions running for it, denying him potentially machine his own mortar. Almost got the rifle in there, but they do get away. And this Panzer goes here, MD4 gets the reactions there. Findeed just keeping up the pressure there versus machine, using his reactions for just harassing and just seizing points here. Machine suffered quite a few losses here versus Findeed. At the moment that is certainly not looking too promising. At this rate he might end up going here for the Stugi to sort of try and, you know, bust his way out of an otherwise awkward situation he'd rather ended up in. Pack 40 moving back in the north, trying to get the Stuart, but realises very quickly his pack is actually quite exposed, then pulls it back for safety. In the south, MD42 versus the echelons. Back here, troops healing, reinforcing. Paying for the next big push, and rifle moving up there as well. Findeed back at base, he's got nothing further there going on. No tech up, no weapon racks, no grenades either. And just overall machine under a lot of pressure, suffering losses left and right. And Findeed's just building up his forces. This is now looking a bit rough there. More Panzer Grenadiers here for the machine. More hardened assault troops for the 15th Panzer Grenadiers. Sean Raffner getting his last hit shot at. Fuel point being secured. Very little territory left here for the machine at the moment. I'm definitely sensing here the Stugi, which has been nerfed. Though some seem to claim it's been completely made useless. I'm less sure of that at the moment. Basically, it's lost some of its AoE, bit of accuracy, but more importantly, it's also lost some health. So it can't take as many hits. Reactions being pushed back here for the Pioneers. Closing in the mid 3 up here, Grenadiers versus Reactions. Panzer Grenadiers setting out. So it's got 2 squads of those now. First one halfway towards Veteran 2-1. Reactions push back, Stuart hanging back in the north. Will he make better use of his heavy machine gun this time around, or will sort of still end up being parked down here? That's sort of the big question there, I think. Paratroops there hiding about with the Thompsons, ready to deal with any crowds that may come by. Mortars, M50 calibers, going straight into that and getting suppressed, need to fall back, including with a Pack 40 for that, gets mortared to death. Need to retreat, these troops got the Panzers moving in. Oh, not Panzers, you've got the paratroopers, M4 as well. You got a grenade off, need to retreat, and then you got tactical assault as well, need to retreat. Machine, 9 damage engine in the Stuart, but the Panzers got wiped out here by the paratroopers, and the Grenadiers could be next. MD4 opening up, will it be enough? Yes, just in the nick of time, but gets wiped by the Stuart. Catastrophic loss here for the machine, catastrophic. Devastating loss here for him in the south. They're Grenadiers standing about, mortar rifle sneaking about there as well. Another Pack 40 here, and the Stuart does escape. Important they're being seized. And we got a doctor here, and it did end up being mechanized assault, simply to get out the Stugi. So the time turn out the fight here light machine gun dropped. MD42 moving too far ahead there. I guess that's a misclick there from machine, needs to fall back. This time here for the mid-game analysis in terms of damage. Machine's hit kills wise though. Findeed is very much ahead, which is a bit of a problem there for machine. Army value-wise, Findeed's also been able to edge ahead. Again, he's just been able to keep a larger force there compared to Machine, who's just been suffering losses there in part. Resource float-wise, still much closer in points held. I mean, a bit back and forth, but overall now Findeed is very much in control here with the Machine. Again, he's probably going to hope here for the Stugi to turn the tide there against Findeed, you know, with a few good high explosive shells here and there. It just provides some armor which could also threaten the Steward a bit, but he does still need to be careful with it. He also needs more infantry out, more Panzer Grenadiers or regular Grenadiers. Even consider some Assault Grenadiers here now they've been, buffed to, maybe sort of fill up the lines a bit fast there after the Stuggy. Because right now, I mean, he's rather at the point that he can't just take up. He should have taken up much sooner, then at which point he probably, roughly, not quite there, but with him close for some having Osman up by now, at which point he certainly could have pressured Findeed a lot more. He might also want to consider a second MG42. I suppose at least he's using the first one more actively now. I do think that's partly what sort of put the machine in such a bind here again. I mean, he put the machine gun in a part of the map where there really wasn't any action to defend a victory point. Certainly victory points are important, but in the very early steps of the game, they're not quite as important as winning, actual engagement or holding the fuel point. And problem is, that's not really any of those things. So that's, I think, a bit of a mistake there for Machine, which, again, can prove problematic. As the Wehrmacht, I always find you want to use machine guns as effectively and as aggressively as possible to maximize the effect in the early minutes. Later on, you can sort of play it a bit more passively, but in the start, you really need to sort of, push it. Otherwise, when against Stuggy, maybe consider half-track to reinforce his troops at the front line, mean he doesn't have to retreat as much, maybe could sort of rush some units, popping up Panzer Grenadiers and maybe Assault Grenadiers up close, doing a lot of damage to Findeed's men as he sweeps them with glorious German lead. But otherwise, right now, he needs to stabilize, needs to do some damage, and then needs to push back. And that requires... My apologies there. That requires getting rid of the Steward for starters, I think, but also just trying to maybe get back some of those mortars. And again, it's going to have to come down to how you stand with the Stuggy. In theory, down the road, he might then be further first into the Tiger, which is certainly also be unfortunate. That's going to leave him with less options, allow Findeed to push regular tech, like, say, for example, Sherman's, which he's got the Major 4 much faster. As for Findeed, I mean, overall, he's performing pretty well. He's making good use of the Americans, pressuring and punishing machines so far, making good use of Steward, despite being nerfed. And the mortars certainly also having an impact, of course, less... horrendously so, and he's certainly also, I think, making good use of the paratroop as well. They've really punished Machine right there, killing a Grenadier squad and the Panzer Grenadiers in just one fell swoop, really just highlighting how dangerous they can be when utilised properly. In this case, catching an opponent a bit with his leader holding down his ankles. But overall, he needs to, I think, just keep up with what he's doing so far. I mean, there's not really much else to say there about him. It rather comes down to how Machine handles this. So let's return to the fight and see what happens. MG42, they're falling back towards the church. Need to get back there. Oh dear, it's also setting up there. He wasn't quite paying attention. Retreat. There we go. And there we go. Got the Stu 3E out here to support the 15th Panzer Grenadier Division. Back 40 opening out the raft now secured with an LMG-42. Bad news there for Machine. He shoots, collapses the house. He's trying to flank in and not bad. He could also consider some S-mines around here to slow down some of Findeed's forces. Grenadiers need to retreat soon, they're being surrounded. Oh, got the mortar. Stuggy moving northwards, but needs to keep some infantry nearby to partly spot for it. MG42 needs to reinforce, at least he didn't get it wiped. Stuggy here, bit awkward handling here. Looking rough. Mortar there secured.
Our base is under attack.
Coming under fire from the Stuggy. First shot does a bit of damage, but nothing serious. Back shoots, breaks apart wire. There we go. Hit from the Stuggy. Punished dividing the troops. Hits a wreck. At the same time, we got the Steward hitting Machine space here from the north. Some nice flanking in there from Findeed. And we got Raffen flanking up behind again here. And the MG42s know we need to support his support weapons, which are now quite exposed, while the Stuggies move towards the front here. And some awkward movement. Like 40 being pushed back, Stuggy moving up there, shoots, misses, needs to get some infantry up there. Panzers are dealing with the resistance in the south. Looks like the captain actually got wiped. There's a bit of a loss there for Findeed and the 5th Infantry. Need to get his troops moving towards the front here. Steward there flanking the Stug. Need to get it back towards safer lines. Need to get towards the support weapons. Raffen taking lots there from the Stug. Pack's shooting. He's moving further away though. He's isolating it further from his anti-tank weapons. That's a bit bad there. Pioneer's also in trouble. Panzer Grenadiers still not doing anything. Support units of infantry moving up from the base finally. Steward there trying to flank the Stug. Pack 4 needs to stop. Oh dear. They're still moving. Should probably order their attack move there to have a better chance of catching the Steward on the move. Stuggy there being flanked. Bazookas moving in. He's double equipped his resistance with bazookas. forming up several harsh anti-tank teams there, punishing Machine's Stuggy play there. Again, he made a mistake there, trying to not pull it towards a certain point. He does get the Steward, but the loss of the Stuggy definitely is a bigger loss there than for the Steward is for Findeed. Rifleman, MD4, 50 caliber, setting up. Panzers have a chance of flanking the 50 caliber, dealing with the bomb grenade, and now Findeed is quickly replacing the Steward with a Sherman tank. There we go, catching the 50 caliber crew of echelons. Also veterans one, and the Panzer gun is being a bit tougher there. Mortar fire landing down here. We got paratroops flanking behind. MD4 setting up grenadiers as well here. Moving forwards. Grenade off here. Grenadiers almost getting wiped. MD4 as well. Pinned down though. Close. There you go. Forced retreat. MD4 is down here. South Panzer was dealing with a lot of torches as well. Closing in on veteran T2 already. Some close quarters engagement there, but Machine is holding on just barely for the fatherland. And one Pack 40 has been cleared out as well. I'm not entirely sure where it went. Guess he got wrecked. Oh, it's there, close to his base though. More grenadiers on the way for him. Looks like he's basically aiming for the Tiger now, like some kind of Steel savior. Meanwhile though, Findeed is prowling onwards here with Shermans. 50 calibers being mounted and added to his arsenal. Paratroops there, Veggie 211 kills. Sherman moving ahead there. Norfolk's got the reaction anti-tank teams moving in there. Mortars nearby. Pushing here for the cutoff point. Pack 40's grenadiers, pioneers, more grenadiers there. MD42 as well. Try and call in some artillery here, supposed to try and soften up some of Findeed's movements. Rifle grenades, pack fire. Shooting flying into the south. The Panzer just need to retreat, and there we go. But it might already be too late here. Grenadiers advancing, need to spread those out a bit, by the way. Right, they're taking heavy fire from the Grenadiers. Pack 40 is set up, and there we go. Panzers make it out of there. Almost got the rifle, but the Sherman does escape. He could have tried laying down by the smoke screen around the path there of the rifle just to increase the chances, but in this case, it wasn't necessary. Pioneers need to reinforce. He's closing on the Tiger. I mean, he's close in terms of fuel. I mean, he's been able to control the fuel point at least somewhat adequately. Still, it's a bit risky they're aiming for the Tiger while Findeed is just sort of building up a lot of other forces. But at this point, it's rather looking like, his last chance. And at least he's also using his machine gun more actively here against the opponent. We got paratroops setting up for another flank. If he can spot it in time, he might be able to deal with it. But of course, that leaves him more vulnerable to a frontal assault. But at the same time, Findeed is a bit short on other infantry elements that can actually take part in this. So that's actually not necessarily the best flanking move here, since generally you want flanks like this to be part of a bigger flank. In this case, his paratroops are now isolated, and the retreat path is pretty much right through his opponent's lines of fire. We can even see a machine. He's just punishing actively with incendiary armor pistol as well as right here. He even tries to catch him with rifle grenades on his retreat path. And there you go. Paratroopers got wiped. In this case, Machine was able to punish Findeed quite well. Again, flanks, you generally, again, particularly deep flanks, you want to be part of a bigger assault, either more forces with more things going on. And he could also at least try to lay down the smoke screen, for example, say pop smoke here and here. He probably could have saved those paratroopers. So right there, even with that single paratrooper, he had option, I think, to actually save it. It's just, again, remembering to smoke to cover units retreat path is something that takes, training and a bit more sort of skill in that department. And obviously, smoke skills is not something everybody has at the moment. I mean, hell, I don't have it, so it's not like I'm going to brag about it. Say no shame on you for me just pointing it out. That's definitely something that you could try and work on for the future. Pack 40 shooting, misses other Pack 40 nearby, gets good in the Sherman. Tiger now available here for the Machine, and the 15th Panzer Grenadiers short. Need to retreat the Grenadiers. Sherman there close to half up. There we go. This time he actually managed to lay down the smoke screen, not to save his paratroopers, his lead infantry, but in this case just to save his Sherman. Doing good work there, but he's taking a lot of fire there. Wipes the Pack 40 though. Tiger rolling out here a bit late there for Machine, but still, it is coming. In the north we got fighting here. We got wiped out the Rifleman. Bit of loss here, nice assault there. Taking advantage of the fact he was a bit preoccupied elsewhere. Rather going for the second Pack 40, that could cause problems there for Machine. There you go, Sherman there wipes it. Definitely quite a lot there for Findeed, but of course that might not last much longer. We got the Tiger moving in there, could have had a pin by machine gun. Up north we got troops moving forwards there, and he lost a unit somewhere. And before to the flank, that was probably a Pack 40 crew replaced by something else, if the pack or as any support weapon. He's replaced, you know, Krug with some infantry. He'll report as an infantry kill, not an anti-tank kill. There goes, got the German smoke screen down here. Can Machine predict the path? And there we go. He gets it through the smoke. Very nice move there. Sharp play there on Machine up north there again. He's sort of pushing through there. He's turning the tables on Findeed, spearheaded by the Tiger. Machine leads the assault for the fatherland. Up north, Panzer's going in there. Half intervention defeat. Back here, Grenadiers reinforcing, healing. We got more paratroopers for Findeed as the 82nd Airborne is being rushed in there to support the 5th Infantry. Pinbot Machine gun being added there to the Tiger for added Deutschland. And there you go, Pedro caught here by the Pioneers, quickly gunning them down. Look, Otto, target practice from the air. There you go, quick push back there by the combined Pioneer and Panzer Grenadier efforts. Half the Pioneer they've gone here to the mortar. Shannon moving in. He's got no need there to tank there to support with. I mean, both his packs are, you know, either taken or gone. There's a bit of a problem there for Machine. Need to retreat the Grenadiers. Small chance they will wipe. Tip to cover there coming from here. He's managed to cut off at least Findeed from a bit of fuel for now. Another pack on the way. Grenadiers, MD4 to think Salford. MD42 could be used, or Tiger could be used a bit more actively here. Could have tried moving up to support his northern force instead of just having a wait there, staring at the grass. Well, foliage. Pack 40 on the way there. Catching here a unit of riflemen with its main gun and machine guns tearing into those armies. They might want to slightly turn it a bit more so its whole machine gun also can take part in the fight, but there you go. Doing a bit of damage there against the Americans, putting a bit more pressure on Findeed. Pack 40 recruit, Grenadiers need to retreat, and he's back to more defensive play with MD4s. Again, at this point, it doesn't matter so much, but again, in the early game, I do think that was a bit of a tactical and fortunate move there by Machine. But we'll see, we might still not be able to turn around this with the Tiger, which does seem to have caught Findeed a bit off guard there.
My God, an actual Tiger. Well, we keep reporting them, Sarge. Well, you know, we just tried to make it sound impressive. It's just, you know, an actual Tiger. Shit.
Tiger moving ahead here for the centre, straight to the 50 caliber. There opens up, good hit there. Collapses quite a few walls and the kitchen. Pack 40 shooting back, penetrating the Tiger's 100mm thick armour. Reactions flying in behind the Tiger. Tiger comes about here. So penetrating bazooka hits there, but the Tiger is nonplussed. Machine here should definitely, I think, consider some additional Pioneers now to repair his Tiger faster. I mean, that's generally one of the mistakes that some players when they go for the Tiger makes. You know, they don't get enough Pioneers to quickly get it fixed. Otherwise, a Tiger can take quite a bit of time to get fully fixed, as it does have more health. Of course, it's got better few Pioneers, and there you go. Good work on Machine. Additional Pioneers on the way. Grenadiers need to retreat. He should not lose them. And I think still the Auto March on considers some mines here and there. S-mines, Teller mines, anything to trip up and slow up Findeed here. Hiccup. Grenadiers, Panzer Grenadiers moving ahead.
We are down to 75 points.
Not looking good for Machine though. He's got the Tiger, he's managed to stabilise, he's managed to turn things around there, but Findeed's still got a pretty strong hand there as well. He's got paratubers, bazookas, 50 cals, mortars, Shermans, and anti-tank guns. I mean, he's got quite a force there still. Got a quick push here. He actually managed to catch the 50 caliber in a bad position there. Troops moving ahead here. Tiger moving ahead to support, needs to be careful though. Needs more to support it though. This is where the MD4 small will be great, but there you go. Wiped the 50 caliber gun and needs to retreat. No, they're caught here by the paratroopers. Tiger moving in, pack shoots, fails to penetrate. Tiger needs to get out of its arc of fire. Might lose the Grenadiers here. No, we got a grenade on the Panzer Grenadiers. Close there, very close. Tiger needs to pull back, and he loses the veteran T3 Panzer Grenadiers. Ah, my God. That's quite a loss there for Machine. And meanwhile, we got the Sherman here striking into the base here. Oh dear, there's a lot of wounded infantry with no good conditions. A sharp, and I would say rather clever move here by Findeed. A rare strike into the base just to kill off the, you know, remainders, the stragglers. Ensure there's nothing there, Machine to reinforce. Sharp, really sharp, and sneaky. Tiger falling back here, but the damaging's already done there again. He's got a wipe there, he's just pulling back the Sherman. So nicely played there by Findeed. Nicely played. repairing here. It does take longer now, by the way, to fix up the damaged engine. That's also a good one. Previously, just take like, you know, a second there, but now it takes several seconds, which means it's not something you just pull away there. So you have to be more careful about it, and that does kind of put a more chance to actually hunt you down and finish you off as well, which is definitely one of the issues with it. It's just like, you know, instant. Like, you know, they got some kind of spray to fix the tank. But the Tiger goes down, unit crushed.
A medium tank was just lost.
Completely grotesque loss here for Machine, who's got some assault grenadiers out now. Rather late for those, I think, but now still might be able to pull off something here. We got Pack 4 being caught here, still remaining with MD42 defending the southern victory point. Sherman rolling back here, Pack 4 with the assault grenadiers going northwards, but apparently a mine went off there, so that was actually his only mine he'd laid down, which then was used against his Tiger. Talk about rotten luck. The only Tiger he does make, on the mine he makes, and it takes out, you know, helps to take out his Tiger. That's pretty bad. In this case, the Pack 40 wasn't quite well off then. There you go, Machine surrenders. A loss here for him, a victory for Findeed, and America. Freedom. I would also say some quite solid tactical play there for Findeed, strategically as well. Good flanks, good hints to his base. Though again, he could use the smoke for some to save those previous paratroopers. Had he done that, they would have lived, or he could have made part of a bigger attack there. So either way, though, that was a bit of a waste. But over the others met some, I think, good assaults in, particularly attacking his base there. Good work there by Findeed. Overall nice footwork in a sense, you'd call it that. Machine, again, I think in part, you know, came off badly there from the start again due to his machine gun there covering the southern victory point, when it really wasn't necessary. Had he used the machine gun more actually, I think it overall had a much stronger start there versus Findeed. His Stugi, though, I think also kind of wasted. There are some mishaps there, the others with Machine, and I still think, you know, he managed to white, managed to hold out into the late game, pulling the Tiger, but wasn't quite able to really elevate it towards victory. There were some close calls here, but ultimately Findeed was able, I think, to persevere due to stronger play. But again, I think Hat Machine just, you know, played their first machine gun in the early game specifically more actively. I think he'd been in a much stronger position versus Findeed, and then the game could have gone very differently. But there you go. So the first match here from the balanced preview mode, I just, you know, thought it was actually quite interesting. Again, airborne and so on there, some good play. And overall, just, you know, show off some of the new balance. Again, it was very similar to what we might see, but still there were some key differences. Mortars weren't quite as overperforming. Stewards weren't. It rather came down, you know, to a lot of things. No, neither was the Stugi, you know. So I think it became a lot more interesting. It became a lot more about maneuvering and just not about raw force. So that's overall fun. Plus paratroopers, you know. We never really see them anymore, so that was pretty cool as well there. So GG, well played by both. They're ultimately better by Findeed. So I hope you enjoyed this match. I hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, tell your friends, share it with everyone. This is Imperial Link saying cheers. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you all tomorrow for another exciting episode. Bye.